Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I've been talking already, but I should introduce myself. I apologize about that. My name is Beatrice Atkinson Myers. I am the Associate Director of Admissions Outreach and Recruitment here at UC Santa Cruz, and I'm very happy to be welcomed today by several of my financial aid and scholarship colleagues who I'm going to ask to go ahead and introduce themselves.
Thank you, Bea. Hi, my name is Robert Weiner Jr., and I am the Assistant Director of Compliance for the Financial Aid and Scholarship Office. And today I am joined with my colleagues, Savannah and Frankie, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. My name is Savannah Calero, and I'm a financial aid advisor for UC Santa Cruz. I specialize in packaging and specifically veterans and satisfactory academic progress, which is one of our programs here on campus. So great to be here.
Frankie, yes, go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Frankie Quiros. I'm also a financial aid advisor here at UC Santa Cruz. I primarily manage outside agency scholarships as well as Gates Millennium, UNCF awards as well. And I'll be here answering your messages live. So if you have a question, just go ahead and drop it in the Zoom, and hopefully I can answer all your questions. But if not, then as Beatrice noted earlier, we do have amazing, wonderful hours for you to drop in and help. We can help you out.
All right, with that, I'm going to disappear for a little bit, let my wonderful colleagues take over, answer your questions, and we'll be back for Q&A. Take it away, Robert.
All right, great. Thanks everyone for attending today. We're happy to be here and share some information with you. As Bea mentioned, this is part of a series. Our last one was how to pay for college. It was a very high level overview and focusing on the applications you need to complete the FAFSA and the California DREAM Act application. Today, we're going to go a little bit further to show you what completing those applications allows you to access. So, we'd like to begin with sharing that, funding your college education, it is a partnership between our office, the Financial Aid Office. We help you coordinate your different funding from federal sources, state sources, and private sources. And then it also has the family aspect to it, where your family may be contributing with financial gifts, college saving plans, personal savings, and then the outside agency scholarships that hopefully you guys are applying for right now. So, we're here for you. We're here to support you and help you navigate this financial aid process. What is financial aid for? Why did you fill out those applications, right? Financial aid is to help you cover what it's going to cost to attend for a year. You will have direct costs, which you will see on your student bill, things like your tuition and your fees, on-campus housing, if you have on-campus housing, and your health insurance plan. Those you're going to be billed directly for from the school. But we also know that you have other expenses that the school's not going to bill you for. Those are things like your books and supplies, your transportation costs, and personal expenses. So your financial aid is designed to help you cover all of these expenses. And to give you just a little more of a specific idea of what it costs to attend here at UC Santa Cruz, this is our current cost of attendance. I do want to note sometimes things change slightly, so you can always find our updated cost of attendance on our financial aid website, financialaid.ucsc.edu. But you can see here that we've clearly outlined the different cost components of the cost of attendance. So we do have our tuition and fees, room and board. Room and board for off-campus and on-campus is different, so there's some distinctions there. You'll also notice some differences in the transportation areas and personal expenses and whatnot. So it's always good to kind of familiarize yourself with your cost of attendance to know what your financial aid is covering. So we have, our California residents here for on-campus, and then below there is for our non-California residents. So our out-of-state students. There are different types of aid that you'll receive. In general, there are two buckets. We have the gift aid. These are grants, scholarships, veterans benefits. They're funding sources that you do not have to pay back. So that's the free money. That's the the money that you want to, try and bring with you if you're applying for outside scholarships. You always want to try and bring that free money with you. On the other hand, we have self-help aid. Those are things like loans and work study. So those loans in particular need to be repaid. It's not free. There are different types of loans, which we will get into a little later here in our presentation. And then there's also work study. Work study gives you the opportunity to find either an on-campus job or sometimes off-campus job, but it's still connected to the school through the work study program. And you actually earn that funding like a paycheck. So some of you may see that you've been awarded work study, and just know that that's not something that's provided to you. The dollar amount isn't provided to you up front. It's something that you're earning. And that's also a great award because you can potentially find on-campus jobs that are going to work with your school schedule more, or maybe in your area of study. So you can get some real life experience there by utilizing some work study awards. Of course, we have all of our financial aid programs that we'll go over today. They are on our website, financialaid.ucsc.edu. So I always encourage you to view our website. There's multiple pages on it. So you can find a lot of the information that we're going to go over today on our website. We're going to go ahead and start with some of the grants you'll see. One thing to note is that these amounts here are like the maximum amounts based on what's called a zero EFC. That's the number that comes from the financial aid application, whether that's the federal FAFSA application or if it's the California DREAM Act application. You'll receive an EFC number, and that's how we determine your aid. For those of you who joined us last time, the general formula is cost of attendance minus EFC equals financial need. It's not on our slide here today, but that is kind of the general formula. When you're filling out, for those students who completed a FAFSA, you can potentially receive a grant, which is that free money again, for up to $6,895. And then there's also what's called Federal Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant. So some students may see this award on their award letters. The amount varies on that, so there is no one set amount, but it does go to students with beginning with the zero EFC. So those are students that are considered to have more financial need. In the state bucket, where the state kind of grant fundings, the free money that you could qualify for, it is determined by the California Student Aid Commission. So I encourage you to sign up for your Web Grants for Students account. This way you can also check, has the California Student Aid Commission determined that you're eligible for possibly a Cal Grant A, where that can be up to the $12,570, or a Cal Grant B, which is that same up to $12,570, but also there's another component called an Access Award for the $1,648. Now, this is state funding, and you would have had to file the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act application to potentially be eligible for any of these awards. Also, for the state funding, the California Student Aid Commission will determine if you're eligible for a middle class scholarship. And that is typically awarded to students who aren't eligible for the Cal Grant A or Cal Grant B. And the middle class scholarship amounts do vary. We don't know what amount that will be, but it can be up to 40% of the tuition for the school. So looking back at our slides, if you go to the cost of attendance or go to our website, you can kind of get an estimate by taking about 40% of that. That could be the maximum that the California Student Aid Commission would award you. They basically tell us that, hey, the student's eligible for one of these programs, and we will include that on your financial aid award. Another program that's fairly new is Student with Dependents Award. So this is for our students who are parents. They can receive up to $6,000 in grant money from the California Student Aid Commission. And then what we offer at UC Santa Cruz, we offer UC Santa Cruz grant. The amount does vary based on the other types of grants and funding that you're getting from the other various federal and state agencies. We also have the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. And that is for families. You know, we determine eligibility, and if, you know, a family doesn't have as much need as some of the other families, this plan basically will make sure that you have enough grant funding, grants and scholarship funding to cover at least the tuition at the campus and the fees. So that's like student services fees. We also have our own version of students with dependents programs. So if for some reason you weren't approved for the state program, we have a program that you could possibly qualify for up to that same amount. So it matches that the state program up to the $6,000. It is important to note that, you know, March 2nd is the deadline, and was the deadline, but every year you're going to reapply for aid. So you always want to complete your FAFSA or your California DREAM Act application by March 2nd to meet the deadline and possibly qualify for these maximum amounts that you see here on the screen. But once again, you know, every student situation is different. So you may not receive the maximum amounts you see here, just depending on your specific situation. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Savannah, and she's going to talk a little bit more about the other types of aid that are available.
Thanks, Robert.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to dive into scholarships. There are so many scholarships. I'm going to go more in depth with what kind of internal scholarships we offer here at UCSC. I'm going to touch briefly on some of those external scholarships. So those are the two buckets we're going to kind of sort these through. Let's start with our internal scholarship. So Campus Merit Scholarship is awarded in recognition of outstanding academic achievement. Scholars are eligible to receive $2,000 per year for a maximum of 4 years for freshmen and 2 years for transfers. So you see that $8,000 value, that's the maximum for this award. First year students are awarded for 4 years, but it's also equivalent to 12 quarters of enrollment. So that's really important to discern. If you have transfer credit or you're coming from high school with college credit, this type of scholarship is awarded for 12 quarters. So each year is 3 quarters. For transfer students, the award is for 2 years or 6 quarters of enrollment. And to retain the scholarship eligibility, scholars are required to meet our satisfactory academic progress. I mentioned very briefly that was one of the programs that I manage. In order to maintain scholarship eligibility and financial aid eligibility, you have to meet the 3 components of what we call SAP. So satisfactory academic progress means that you're maintaining a GPA of 2.0 or better. If you're a full-time student, you're carrying a course load that is at least 12 credits per quarter. If you're part-time, then you're attempting and passing at least 80% of your credits, and you're completing your program within 15 quarters of time. So those are the 3 components of SAP, just to kind of briefly go through that. The next scholarship is our Regents Scholarship. This carries the highest honor awarded by the University of California at Santa Cruz to entering undergraduates. So the award amounts for a new frosh are $20,000 paid over 4 years, and transfer students can receive $10,000 paid over 2 years. In addition to the monetary award, scholars also receive priority enrollment and a housing guarantee. So it's a huge honor. These are awarded in recognition of outstanding academic achievement. Scholarships are renewable for 4 years for first-year students and 2 years for junior transfers. And renewals are conditional upon meeting academic standards as I outlined for SAP. So that's the Regents. Dean's is a very unique one, and it may not apply to all of us here, but the undergraduate Dean Scholarship ranges from $12,000 to $40,000 split over 4 years for freshmen. And for transfer students, the award ranges from $6,000 to $20,000 over 2 years. And this is one internal scholarship where newly admitted non-resident students are considered during the admissions cycle. And so our holistic review of the scholarship candidates considers academic preparation as demonstrated through the information provided on your UC application, including courses completed, and courses that are in progress, grade point average, accomplishments within the context of opportunities, leadership qualities, special talents, achievements, and awards. So a lot of these awards are not just based solely on your FAFSA. They really look holistically at your UC admissions application. I do want to, kind of circle back and remind people that remind everybody that this Dean's Award in particular is awarded to non-resident students, non-California residents. Okay, and then our campus scholarships really, they vary. Campus scholarships mean that they might be awarded from various colleges on campus and various like departments on campus. These come directly from the department themselves. To be considered for any of them, you have to have your FAFSA filed by March 2nd. Your UC admissions application serves as your scholarship application. Be sure to cite any unique characteristics that apply to you in the scholarship section of the admissions application if you haven't already. It's really important to elaborate on your personal statement because this can also be used during the scholarship section. New and continuing undergraduate students who are California residents and have completed their UC admissions application by the deadline are those is who they consider. And just overall timeline, every year the FAFSA will open. Admissions application season opens in October and it ends in March. So our website, just really quickly before we move forward, our website will also go over how to access and how to go into each section of those campus department-based scholarships. And so you can navigate it under types of aid on our website in the scholarship section. And I need to touch on private scholarships before we move forward to loans. Is that okay? Thanks, Robert. Okay, and then we also have our private loan bucket. So we call these outside agency scholarships because they come from external sources. And we have a huge layout on our website of all the external scholarships that we've seen in the past. All of the links directly to their applications are listed. And what I usually advise students when they're looking for external scholarships is what makes you unique, what makes you stand out, and really like, what are your demographics as an individual? And you really, when you seek out those types of scholarships, it narrows the pool. And we continue to see scholarships come in all year long from external sources. So there's no limit to the deadline for external scholarships. Okay. All right. And then the last component, this is, we're moving really into our self-help. And self-help is really where we see vested interest from partners that are families and students. And so loans can come from both, federal sources, or we also offer institutional loans. So federally, your FAFSA is your initial loan application, believe it or not. Your FAFSA is an application for both your federal grants, your Pell, your SEOG, It's also a loan application for loans. And there are 3 types of loans. There's a subsidized loan that is interest-free while you're in school. The Department of Education pays the interest on this loan while you're attending school. And then you have a 6-month grace period of no payments after you graduate, and then repayment will begin. So hopefully during that grace period time, you've been allowed some time to look for a job and you have some steady income and you can start, making those payments back to your loan servicer. Unsubsidized loans are the same interest rate as a subsidized loan. However, interest is building while you're enrolled in school. These both have different loan limits for the various grade levels that you might be in. A freshman's offered different loan amounts than a sophomore, than a junior, et cetera. And the unsubsidized loan will have the same type of grace period 6 months after you graduate, and then you'll begin repayment. Now, a parent loan is different than a student loan. So subsidized loans and unsubsidized loans are need-based student loans. So need-based means as long as you're enrolled and you have a FAFSA, you qualify, and a FAFSA. A parent loan is a credit-based loan. It has slightly higher interest rate. Repayment does begin once the loan is dispersed. And this is in your parent's name. So if you are offered the option to apply for a parent loan and you accept it, then our office will assign you a task in your student portal to-do list that directs your parent to apply for the loan. So they have to apply for the loan. They run a credit check. And then based on the outcome of that credit check will determine whether you move forward with borrowing the parent loan at that point, or they can decide not to, or if the credit check is denied, then we decide, okay, we can offer the student additional unsubsidized loan, or the parent can get a cosigner. So interest rates do vary depending on the state of the US government. They're the ones that determine the interest rates. They've been, in 2020, they were as low as like 2.75. That was the lowest I've ever seen those loan interest rates. It was amazing. So now they're a little bit more normalized. They're more like 5 and 6%. And then lastly, we also offer institutional loan, which is what we call a university loan. And this is a loan that really mirrors a subsidized loan. It is interest-free while you're in school. It's only offered to entering freshmen, and repayment would begin after you graduate. And so those are kind of the 2 primary loan buckets that we'll offer you, or you might see in your financial aid package. Okay, other types of aid that you might see on your financial aid package. Like Robert mentioned, federal work study. This is a type of financial aid that is earned, by you. We have a work study page on our website, and it takes you to the Career Center. And when you start looking for jobs to work on campus, you'll see jobs that are eligible, that are work study eligible. And so if we offer you work study, this is an opportunity for you. You can apply for jobs in that classification, and then the paychecks or the payment that you receive for that job worked comes from a financial aid source. So it's very different in that this is not financial aid that pays your charges directly. All of the financial aid that we have talked about, for the most part, will pay your bill directly. Work study actually pays you, and then you have the option to utilize that money for educationally related expenses. You could use it to pay a bill, whatever you need to use it for. You might be utilizing veterans benefits if you're a veteran student. We have a lot of different types of veteran chapter benefits that are available. If you're a dependent of a veteran and you're utilizing veteran benefits, that process is going to begin with the Office of the Registrar. They are going to take you through all of the documentation requirements. Their office will communicate to us what type of veteran benefit you're utilizing and how much you're going to be receiving. So we don't, the Masters of Financial Aid, we're not really in control of like the veterans piece. The liaison there is really the Office of the Registrar. We just, we'll report it on your financial aid page so you can see those details. State aid that you might come across is a CalVet fee waiver. This is similar to Cal Grant in that it may, it could be the same amount. This is a tuition fee waiver from the state of California for veterans. Robert, is it also for dependents of veterans? Robert is our CalVet fee waiver expert.
Yes, it's actually for dependents of veterans.
Oh,
so
dependents
it's the
of veterans.
dependent that's receiving it. Let me get this back up.
Yes. So this fee waiver is for $12,570. The caveat to CalVet fee waiver is that there's a pretty general rule in financial aid that you cannot have two tuition paying sources. So if you qualify for Cal Grant and they say, here's $12,570, it can only be used for tuition. And then you find out, oh, I also qualify for CalVet fee waiver, and that's valued at $12,570, and that's also only for tuition. You have to choose one. And if you haven't chosen one, we'll reach out to you to find out which one you prefer. So just a little bit of a rule about that. And then our Chafee grant for foster youth.
I can jump in on this one a little bit, just
Sure,
because I do manage this program in particular. And there is, for our foster youth, for students who have been in the foster youth system, there is a separate application, which is the Chafee grant application that you complete. And the California Student Aid Commission will determine, if you're eligible for this award. And it can be up to $5,000. And it's grant money that you would not have to pay back. And if you are, if you fill out the application now, for this particular Chafee grant, you don't need to qualify for a Cal grant. So it is separate from that. So you may not qualify for a Cal grant, but you could have the Chafee grant. Like I said, it's up to 5,000, and basically what we do is we certify that yes, you're attending our school, and they will send a check to the school in your name, and then we release that check to you. So that's how the Chafee grant program works.
And then we might receive scholarships. They might come in the form of a check to our office. There's information on our website about if you applied for your scholarship and you were approved, they're going to want information about where they should send that check. And that's on our website as well. It could be scholarships from a private society in Elks Lodge. It could be scholarships from a tribe. They run the gamut. There's many, many different types. There's more than I could even say. And then this is a recap of our timeline. I know we went over this in the last session, but we kind of just want to circle back to this so that people really know what to expect in the coming months. So the March 2nd priority deadline has passed. The FAFSA and the California DREAM Act application is open all year long. The priority filing is from October 1st to March 2nd. That's really when we want you to file. If you file after March 2nd, that's okay too. It can make you ineligible for certain awards. But the FAFSA, you know, it stays open all year long. So it's not like after March 2nd ends, we stop looking at applications. We'll continue to, you know, accept and receive and offer you aid for what we can, even after March 2nd. So just something to bear in mind. March through May, you know, the time right now, if you haven't received one already, is when conditional financial aid offers go out. Conditional financial aid offers mean their aid estimates based on the FAFSA that we've received, based on the DREAM application that we've received so far. This is a conditional aid offer, is how much we're estimating your financial aid to be without being able to provide you an official offer. The reason we can't provide you an official offer yet is there can be a couple different reasons. Two of the biggest reasons is some of the figures like tuition, fees, and health insurance, some of those are not set in stone from their departments yet. So student services or the health insurance department, they may not have confirmed yet at this point in the year that the costs, what the fixed costs are going to be for 2023. So that's one component that could change your conditional aid offer. The other component is the verification process. If you received a notification at the end of your FAFSA or at the end of your GENE Act that you were selected for a process called verification, we may need additional information from you. And so the outcome of that additional information could change your conditional aid offer in the end. So we want to try to give you as much information upfront as we can. June 2nd is the priority deadline for fall aid applicants to submit documents. So this is the verification deadline. If you were selected for verification, we want all your docs by June 2nd in order for us to be able to give you an official financial aid offer on time before the fall. July through September, new students will receive an email when your official aid offer is ready to be reviewed on your MyUCSC portal. At that time, you will have access to accept and decline the awards we offer you. So that's one of the key components when we provide you an official aid offer that really differs from a conditional aid offer. Conditional aid offer, you're not, you know, it's just for review, it's just for reference, but when you get that official offer, you're going to want to go into your portal. There is instruction videos on our UCSC Financial Aid YouTube page on how to accept and decline those awards. And then in late August, after you accept your aid offer, you can use our payment estimator to estimate how much you'll owe for the quarter. You can come in and visit our office to talk about, okay, what exactly are my charges? How much is, you know, my financial aid going to cover? How does that work? And we can meet with you one-on-one during that time. Robert, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think one good thing to note is that the conditional aid offers will disappear at some point. Don't get alarmed or nervous about it. It doesn't mean that you're not going to receive aid. It just means that we're getting ready to put the official offer on there, where you'll be able to then go in and accept your awards. And, you know, just to reiterate, always check your MyUCSC to-do list, because that's where we're going to post notifications of things that we need and directions on how to provide that information to us.
And we'll send you a notification via email. We'll let you know your conditional aid offer is going to go away. It's going to be deleted, but we're doing it in preparation for the official offer.
And so now that you have all this information, we are open for questions, and so we can answer for you. And hopefully, you know, Frankie's also been doing a great job of answering some of your questions in the chat.
So many great questions coming in. Really appreciate it. Trying to get through as many of them as possible. I was helping Frankie out too. Don't know that we got them all, but we're going to dive in, keep going. We have lots of time. So a couple of the questions I kept seeing in particular over and over again were, how do I know if I've gotten a merit award? And if I didn't get a merit award, how can I apply for one?
The merit award will be included in your financial aid package. Those are some of the first, those will go out. You'll see them in the financial aid page.
In addition, they do send out individual notifications to students and letters letting them know if they've been selected for one of the like campus merit scholarships or the Regent scholarships or prestigious ones. So you are communicated with if you are receiving one of those.
Yeah, and they've already received your application. So, you applied your admissions application and your FAFSA. They have received, that's your application. For the merit ones, for the campus ones, it's a little bit, it can be different. You can go to our scholarship page, and under the campus scholarships, you can scroll down and see all the departmental scholarships, depending on, what your major is, what your college is.
Yeah. And I think one thing to note, in particular with the campus scholarships, is that a lot of those scholarships are for our continuing students, but it's always great to, get a jump on it and look at it to see like, hey, can I apply for this for my second year? To try and do that future planning.
So more questions about scholarships in particular. A couple of things. One is it based on merit, or is it based on financial need?
It's holistic. It's everything. It's both.
And I think it would probably depend on the award as well. So if you're really looking, at something like the Undergraduate Dean's Award, that's going to be more based on a student's application to UC and their merit than maybe a different scholarship, right? A university merit-based scholarship. So it really will depend on the scholarship as well.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a lot of questions from students who are interested in understanding how work study works. If they didn't get work study, can they apply for work study? How do they find a job for work study? So can either one of you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I can go ahead and start with that. So if you didn't get work study and, on your official financial aid offer, right now in our conditional aid offers, not everyone will get work study because there is a limited amount of work study funding. So we award it to students, and then if it's not used, we're able to offer it to others. Students. But you can, once you've accepted your official award and you're here on campus, you can always come contact our office to see if we can award you that work study. And a lot of the times, work study is also a need-based award. So it works kind of like, if in a general rule of thumb is if you qualify for the subsidized loan, then you're also going to qualify for work study. So we would be able to add that work study award to your offer, financial aid offer. Once you accept it, that triggers the Career Center's system to allow you to view and apply for work study positions. So then you go through a process with the Career Center, filling out your application, a job interview. And if you get the position, the way that you're paid, for example, say you're offered $2,000 in work study, the way that you're paid is part of that, each paycheck will be, you'll receive a paycheck from your employer, but it'll eat away at that $2,000 award. So you can earn up to that $2,000 in the position. So that's in a nutshell how financial aid, federal work study would work. Savannah, anything to add there with that?
It's pretty, sometimes a student may not utilize the whole 2,000, and that's okay. Sometimes we have instances where more likely continuing students, but maybe they're used to, they're used to a reoccurring work study position, and they over earn. And then in those cases, they need to contact our office and to notify us, hey, I might earn more than the 2,000. We need to be notified so we can make sure that there's room in their financial aid for that, to allow for that. So just kind of a nuance, but we should always be notified. But yeah, we parcel out a certain amount of work study per year. And if a student thinks they're going to exceed it, they'll need to notify us, but it's kind of uncommon.
So if a student is on work study and and they exceed their work study amount, their employer can choose to continue them and just pay as full-time students without drawing down that federal work study anymore, correct?
Right. So it's always good to talk to your employer as well. Because if you are, especially if you have earned all of your work study already, because they may have that budget in their department to go ahead and continue to keep you employed, and they're paying you from their department funding.
So I'm also seeing a lot of questions and concerns from students and family members saying, well, how do I know how much I'm actually going to have to pay? I see this as a conditional aid offer, but you're telling me I'm not going to get an actual aid offer until after June. How do I know what I'm actually going to pay? Can you help families understand that process?
Yeah,
Robert, can you go to the COA slide?
yeah.
When we're going to talk about this in, I believe it's our next webinar series. But yeah, this is the nitty gritty. So, you know, we talked a little bit last time about direct costs. Your direct costs are what you're going to be billed to, and those line items on this slide are tuition and fees. If you live on campus, that might be room and board and campus health insurance. And the room and board figure you see there, that 18,120 is the average for based on a 2-person occupancy. So that's kind of the most variable we get in this. So if you add up those three figures, that's probably about how much you'll need for the year for 9 months of school that you'll be billed directly. And then the financial aid that we offer you, you know, you'll want to figure out, was I offered enough financial aid? Am I going to accept enough financial aid to cover that figure? Does that make sense?
Because the financial aid awards that we're creating will be enough to meet the cost of attendance. So it's just assuming that you're accepting all of it, but each award, especially like the loans, you know, that's a personal individual choice on how much debt you are comfortable with taking out to cover the cost of your education. So that's why it's really important when you are looking at like the direct costs that you'll see a bill for, if you're borrowing enough aid, or if you are accepting enough grant aid and possibly borrowing enough loan aid for that. So sometimes, even though we're putting, you know, a certain amount of loan, when you look at your personal budget and you do your personal finances, you may say, hey, I don't need to borrow the entire amount the school has offered me, so you can borrow less. And just because you tell us, you indicate to us initially that you want a lesser amount, you know, if you run into unexpected expenses during the year while you're in school, you can always come back to us and say, hey, I actually need the entire amount that you offered me. So just because you don't accept it all at that time doesn't mean that it's going to disappear for the year. It'll still be available to you.
Where can students and families talk to financial aid if they need to appeal their financial aid offer, or if they want to know more about, you know, how can they apply for a parent loan? How can they apply for that work study? They've had a change in income adjustment in the last year. How is the appeal process managed?
Well, I'll go ahead and start. The appeal process is, it's a little early. We really don't review appeals until the official offer has been, actually not, let me backtrack. Until you've made the decision on whether or not you will attend UC Santa Cruz. Once you decide that, if you decide to attend, then we will review an appeal. You'll have the opportunity to submit an appeal, and that will be through our portal that's called My Aid Verify. It's a portal that students receive access to once we know they're attending here. So that way they can submit things like the verification documents and also appeals. So you'll notify us by letting us know that you want to submit a family contribution appeal. And the reason for that appeal is a change in income. And you'll be able to document that change and submit it to us. And then we will review it. And if everything's aligned and we can see that, yes, the income is dropped and it's a supporting documentation is there, we can go in and change your FAFSA to more accurately reflect the financial situation that you're reporting to us. And then that will mean we will revise your financial aid award, with the goal of qualifying you for hopefully additional grant monies, the free monies. But it could even be like for a student who may not qualify for a subsidized loan or work study initially, if they submit an appeal, that might be something that changes. It may not be a big enough change to qualify for grants, but it could be a big enough change to put the student in the subsidized loan bucket, to where they're getting a loan, where the interest isn't building while they're in school. And then before that, though, if you kind of have some figures in your head of how much income has decreased, you can give us a call and we can do our best to try and simulate an estimate of what that would look like if you were to submit an official appeal.
I was going to mention that you kind of listed off a couple different reasons why a student might submit an appeal. Not all family changes really qualify for an appeal. Some may just simply require a correction. So the reasons for appeal are listed on our website in the appeals section under family financial changes. Some of those reasons, definitely a recent loss or reduction of income, divorce or separation recently for the family, one-time only income, if parents hit the lotto in the last year or so, in the last tax return, and it shows up and it's not reoccurring income, just happened that 1 year. High medical and dental expenses that were paid out of pocket, not covered by insurance, private tuition paid for K through 12, or if they were impacted by a natural disaster. So those are some of just examples of primary reasons we do process FAFSA changes via appeal. Sometimes it really simply just requires a correction through verification. And if a student always, if they want to consult with us about, should I submit an appeal, should I not? Is it a correction? Is it not? They can always come to our office hours and ask.
A lot of questions coming from international and out-of-state students who are trying to understand better what aid are they eligible for actually. Can they get work study, undergraduate dean's award, but what other aid might they be eligible for?
Yeah, for our out-of-state students, still within the US, you're eligible for any of the federal aid that you qualify for based on filling out your FAFSA. And then yes, the Dean's Award, we looked at that. You may be eligible to receive that, but once again, that's a holistic review as well, based on demographics and need. Otherwise, it is trying to apply for those outside scholarships and bringing that scholarship money with you. Once you're here on campus, though, a lot of departments have scholarships, whether it's your college or if it's the academic department. They have so many scholarships, and you can get kind of a preview of that on our website when you go to the UCSC's the scholarship section and then UCSC scholarships. It will drill down to the different campus, different departments and colleges and what's available there. For our international students, it is, bringing that money with you through scholarships, because you would not be able to complete a FAFSA or a California Dream Act application. So it really is, bringing that funding with you. And then applying for, once again, outside agency scholarships. And once you're on campus, applying for those college scholarships, departmental scholarships individually for
there are jobs
whatever
on
area
campus
of
as
interest.
well that international students can apply to that are not work study jobs, but they are good jobs that students can apply to and work on campus as well. So that's an option too. A lot of questions about the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan, understanding how do I get selected? When do I know if I've qualified? Can I get the Cal Grant and the undergrad and the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan? Will it cover housing or just tuition and fees? I know that was a lot, but that's kind of the summary.
I can start, Savannah, or you want to start?
Yeah, I can kind of talk about, blue and gold eligibility. I'll start there. Blue and gold is for students whose family total income is less than 80,000. So it's pretty specific. That figure we take from the FAFSA itself. Under the blue and gold plan, students are guaranteed to receive enough gift aid from all other sources to cover UC tuition and fees. Sometimes blue and gold is not included in a conditional aid offer. It oftentimes is assessed later in the process. You can see it later. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, one good indication though is because the blue and gold program is a program UC system wide. So if other UCs are putting it on their award letters, their conditional aid offers, that's a strong indicator that you're also going to receive it at UC Santa Cruz. We just, our campus notifies students of that later on. It may not even be on the official offer. It can often happen during the fall quarter after we see what everything you're eligible for, even outside scholarships. If you're reporting outside scholarships to us, we even take that into consideration. But to go back to, can we have a Cal grant and the blue and gold? Really, the blue and gold program are for families who are not eligible for those other programs because they're showing that they have a higher financial capability based on the FAFSA or the California Dream Act application. So a student who's receiving Cal grants, like a Cal grant and Pell grant, those financial aid awards are they're better than a financial aid award that is only blue and gold because they're demonstrating more financial need. So it does depend on the financial need that's demonstrated, and that's why we did mention that the blue and gold program is for families who earn up to 80,000. Anything else to add, Savannah?
This is one particular type of award that does not have an asset cap. So that's the other big differentiating thing. So other awards like Cal Grant, it has both an income cap and an asset cap for the family. This one is an income only. So maybe the family itself is low income, but they have assets like investment, rental real estate investments. That does not count against them.
And just so we're really clear, the difference between the middle class scholarship and blue and gold.
Middle class scholarship is determined by the state. And so the state awards that scholarship. They notify us, hey, give this student this middle class scholarship. And that award also can come much later. Sometimes middle class scholarship is not awarded until October, sometimes November, because we have to wait on the state to confirm. Blue and gold is University of California source.
And this is why sometimes you won't learn about that blue and gold or middle class scholarship until summer or even into fall.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for the families.
And also just to add on to that, that's why I encourage students and families setting up their web grants for students account, because that's where they're going to get notified first if they're qualifying for things like the Cal Grant or the middle class scholarship, those state programs.
So say that one more time, Robert.
Web grants for students.
Web grants for students.
Yeah, web grants for students. It's the California Student Aid Commission's student portal for you to check on, the Cal Grant or the middle class scholarship. That's where they're going to notify students.
Outstanding.
So you may receive that notification before we do.
Got it. Because you could have checked that website and seen specifically.
Right.
A great question just came in from someone. What is My Aid Verified and when should it be completed? What exactly is that?
That's a portal we use to collect documentation, to request documentation. We do a lot of our appeals process. It's all through that. It's a portal. Once you have submitted your statement of intent to register, we recommend for you to activate your My Aid Verify portal. You'll also receive a notification that directs you to go to activate it. Some other forms that we also collect through this portal is like an authorization to release information. So if your parent ever calls into our office and they have questions specific to financial aid, this form would grant us access to discuss with them in depth your financial aid. So we process verification, appeals, satisfactory academic progress appeals, authorization to release information forms. It's our document processing because we've gone completely away from paper essentially.
So where will students be notified about going to the My Verify website and kind of knowing that they should be looking at it and interacting with it?
Their tasks in their My UCSC to-do list will point toward, it will direct them to that website. When we start needing documents, we'll let them know it needs to be submitted through this portal. And then if you haven't done so, to activate the portal. If there's some reason where we don't need to collect documents from a student, we'll still notify them in the My UCSC to-do list that they need to head over there and activate it. But I believe every incoming student receives a notification because we want everyone to submit an authorization and to release information if they can, if they want to.
So it sounds to me like really the process is you go to my.ucsc.edu, and then from there you look at your to-do list, and then you're going to be asked to go to My Verify, verify your account and check for information and submit if you feel comfortable with the release of information. So that's really the process.
Yeah, in their to-do. Yeah, that's why, Robert, you know, like you mentioned, always check your to-do list.
So everything really starts with that my.ucsc.edu to-do list.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Awesome. Excellent. A couple other questions that are coming in. I know we're basically at time. Thank you so much for answering so many questions. People are asking, well, has this been recorded? Yes, this has been recorded. This entire webinar has been recorded so that we are going to post it back onto the undergraduate admissions events page, where our first in the series was also posted. So you can go there and click on it. It'll take you to a YouTube link where you can view the last webinar we did, and we'll post this webinar as well. Again, a big advertisement, April 14th. 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. We're going to actually have examples, screenshots of people's student aid offers. And so we'll be able to actually kind of really talk about, like, what does it mean when you accept this? Do you have to accept this? What is the timeline, etc. I know there are still questions from students who are asking, I don't see any conditional aid offer in my portal. That's making me really nervous. What do we say?
They're coming.
Yes, they are coming.
They're coming.
If you are not receiving one, like say you completed your FAFSA in October, and you still don't have one right now, and you've received your decision, you can always check with us. Some of the common reasons why you may not be receiving that conditional aid offer is because the social security number on your admissions application is not matching like the social security number on your FAFSA. So specifically for the FAFSA. So if those two don't match, our system doesn't know to link your accounts together and create that financial aid award. So you can reach out to the financial aid office, we can look into it, or you can reach out to admissions as well if you need to correct your social security number on their end.
Also, our federal school code, making sure our federal school code is on your FAFSA. And conditional aid offers go out March through May. So, it's only been 1 month. So we've got 2 months to go. We're going to roll them out, just in all throughout the next 2 months.
more questions coming in, many of which we've already covered. I'm going to really encourage everybody who has questions about the merit scholarships and about things like that. Please make sure to, when we post this, go back through this webinar. Remember to join us on April 14th as well. And then you can see here listed the financial aid website and email. Just know that there are financial aid representatives, Robert and Savannah and Frankie and others, who are available to answer your questions Monday through Friday, both Zoom drop-in and by phone. So know that even though we couldn't get to your question today, there are people who can answer your question and work with you one-on-one. And with that, I'm just going to say thank you so much to all of my colleagues who are just outstanding. And I look forward to seeing everybody again on April 14th. Take care and have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.